I didn't film anything on the 13th, so let's jump straight ahead to Valentine's Day. I decided, instead of taking public transit like a normal person, I would walk for 2 hours to a specific destination. Because this was an area I had yet to visit at all, I didn't want to take the risk of taking the wrong bus or train and just getting utterly stupidly lost once again. Just one problem with this. I kept having to cross bridges over the most beautiful shots of all the rivers and bays and beautiful blue skies across Japan. The trip took longer because everything was so beautiful I had to stop and record it. Anyway, non sequitur incoming. For the non-Japanese watching this video, tell me, how does throwing away trash work in your home country? Back in my neighborhood of the United States, there's throwing away your trash, throwing away your recycling, and a third optional one, depending on your neighborhood, throwing away natural debris, like branch trimmings and lawn mowing clippings and stuff like that. Because this is Japan, it's a lot more complicated. You have to pre-sort all your trash as you are throwing them away. I believe, if I'm wrong, again, please correct me, but I believe there's 6 different types, just for trash. Because, well, there's not a lot of land space in Japan for massive landfills. You need to recycle as much as you can, and whatever you cannot recycle, you burn. And whatever you cannot recycle nor burn, well, I don't know what they do with it. Maybe it ends up in a little dockyard like this. But there is a lot of homework on just throwing away trash for newcoming citizens, such as metal cans, specific plastic bottles you need to recycle, different types of disposable plastic, food waste, clothing. But just past the beautiful sight of garbage was my destination, my endpoint of the seemingly ceaseless trek across Japan, like watching the sun rise after a stormy night. Let's go to IKEA. My one and only goal in mind was the 80 yen veggie hot dog. I had no furniture planned, because again, I'm not staying here very long. So after a bit of confusion in the in-store navigation, they were out of stock. So I purchased this plant-based ice cream for only 50 yen. All of the delicious flavor and none of the stomach upset. After some mocking signage about the 80 yen hot dog, I decided to take the bus over to Nanba Station. I didn't feel like walking for a total of 3.5 hours. My step counters have been absolutely fantastic when I've been on this trip. I've figured out how to navigate the subway system, but it saves me some money to walk to school every day and it helps me get better exercise. So if you have the health to walk this much, by all means, please. But the public transit system is quite accessible and easy to navigate, and very, very plentiful. I made it back to Namba Station and wandered into whatever the hell this is. Pretty much all I did this day was buy more souvenirs for my family and scout out some baking supplies for my weekly treats for class. And I forgot to film it. But as I got closer to Osaka Castle, I realized I don't have that much longer in my trip left. It wouldn't be fair if I just utterly ignored it for the duration of my trip, you know? 5 centuries or so of history stand behind those walls. Yeah, I went to a fugu restaurant instead. Tora Fuguya specifically, it's pretty close to Osaka Castle. The restaurant layout were these little booths and a wide open hallway to the left. The sight of the hot plate made me a little nervous. I was scared I had to cook again. But they very kindly left me a wine menu, which I did not care to browse because it was expensive, as well as an English menu. Don't worry, I still made sure to thoroughly embarrass myself at this rather upscale restaurant, such as dumping the soy sauce into the broth when it's supposed to be a dipping sauce, or the fact that I asked out a classmate and he politely said no. A little late-night clarification. I asked him out a few days prior to going to the restaurant, as the reservation was already set. But I did appreciate, at the end here, the multilingual questions. So most questions you could ask, there was an answer for that the staff could direct to. Being both a coward and a cheapskate, I ordered one of the cheapest things on the menu, the fugu hot plate. It was a variety of vegetables left to steep in the hot plate into a nice soup. I also got these little jelly things. I don't know what they are. But I needed to kill time while I waited the 3 minutes for it to boil, so I ate it, and it was completely fine. Hey, sorry if I sound different, I got a cold in between recording sessions. The fugu portions were very clearly offcuts. Like, these were majority bone and cartilage, but still had some meat on it. How did the meat taste? Nothing to write home about. Maybe the sushi or the nigiri was much better. But I'm not here to review food I haven't eaten. While the hot plate was definitely a high maintenance dish, and my dumbass foreigner self had a great struggle in just trying to eat some of the meat, but it was a good use of 1200 yen if I say so myself. Should you decide to get yourself a fugu hot plate, just be sure to let the staff do the handling. Should you have any questions and your Japanese fluency is somewhat limited, then go to the FAQ at the back. And don't dump soy sauce into the pot. Tora fuguya? Done. I had to wait a couple hours before I entered Mahajara, the nightclub on the list. Now, I walked in right when the doors opened, so I thankfully could actually film some footage. Don't worry, I quick changed from the formal outfit to the club outfit. Now, I ordered the charm, which is just a tray of various snacks, and fair warned, I saw the tiny little cylindrical packages, the reddish-orange ones, that's definitely meat, so I gave those as treats to the staff. Some of these other candies kinda tasted like Smarties, and not the Smarties from the UK, I mean American Smarties. The ones that taste like sugar and chalk. But I'm not gonna complain about a meal I had no idea what to expect from. I just felt kind of awkward working through this thing that was probably meant to be like a snack tray for a group of friends, as the currently lone patron in the bar. And the very tentative staff all made sure to keep an eye on me. Just huddled in the corner watching people slowly filter into the club. But I've had worse experiences in clubs before, and this was one completely of my own doing, so who's to complain? And I'm honestly surprised to say this, the music was at a reasonable volume and not the ear-blasting volume like back home in the States. Another thing that surprised me was, how do I say this, the patrons? Was the night's events meant to be like a Gen X night? Because I may have been the only patron under the age of 45 in that room. But I didn't want to film them, so just take my word for it. Anyway, the night pass that I bought gave me 2 free drink tickets, and then after that you would have to buy tickets. So I got 2 drinks, here's one of them. And yeah, the drinks were fine, they were kind of weak, and I wasn't really wanting to get super drunk anyway. Maharaja, done. Hey girl bosses and gamers, I have a very, very fun trick for you. Let's say you have some dark brown sugar that you need to work through, and you decide after watching a couple Binging with Babish recipes, then you found one that was just sugar water for his creme caramel video. But they had white sugar, you have dark brown. Just cook it as directed. It will look like burnt rubber. But remember, this is dark brown sugar. So it has a lot of molasses in there okay, maybe this is just me being biased. Maybe this is the world's worst caramel sauce. I decided once I go home, I'm gonna give some to my mom. I mean, I'm gonna eat all this, but I'm gonna make it at home and have my mom try some because she's gonna have an absolute conniption fit when she sees this color. Just the toasted, caramelized notes along with the deep, rich molasses flavor. Oh my god. It tastes so good, but it looks like an absolute nightmare. Nakanishi Muramoku. Let's jump ahead a week to February 22nd. It seems you've caught me at a Taiwanese time of my life. I got invited by some of my classmates to the Taiwanese Lunar New Year celebration festival. Now, was it crowded and overstimulating? Yeah. A lot of these tents that you see, these were all mini restaurants that were serving various Taiwanese foods to the public. Was the food good? You bet. My classmates actually remembered that I'm pescatarian. I really appreciate my classmate for showing me which stalls had vegetarian-safe food. Hey, Q-san? Arigato gozaimasu. And then afterwards, the group started walking to Round 1, which is a sort of game center. Like, there's an arcade, there's bowling, there's a smoking room. My classmates mostly spoke in Chinese with each other, so I did not understand a lick of what they said. They spoke in Japanglish to me. But honestly, as a professional yapper who's constantly self-conscious about their yapping, it felt a bit nice to just remain quiet and not feel the constant urge to ruin every conversation. Now, the group and I were held up for a bit. I couldn't really ask some of them what was going on, and I didn't really want to, bother them too much, so I just kind of hovered in the background. Very cutely. The first thing we did was the bowling center on the 10th floor, which featured One Punch Man, other animes I don't know about, Hetalia, which I was surprised to see in the year 2026, and also a bunch of other stuff I didn't quite recognize. I looked them up later. Oh, and at the end of the hallway you might have saw just maybe a little obscure anime. And then we actually went bowling. All the screens had music videos on them for some reason. It was mainly our group that had the guardrails as we played, but the second round over, that was when we put the guardrails down, and don't worry, I failed almost every single shot thereafter. Bowling is not my forte, and you know what, that's okay. Just like recording stuff at proper angles. Everything here is at a Dutch angle, and I'm so sorry. I was just there to have fun and fill up on free melon soda, just like my classmates were too. Oh yeah, if you ever decide to go bowling at round 1, there's a drink station of, coffee, water, various sodas, all free. Just go take them, right now. You can purchase other food and drink, but why bother? And then, whatever the hell this is happened. Was it a game show? Was it just an event for the heck of it? I don't know, but it looked really, really cool. And then, like all good things, it must come to an end. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted, to quote the final episode of BoJack Horseman. Next we should have done the hokey pokey and really turned ourselves around. Once our rounds were up at the bowling, then we went a couple floors below to the arcade, and it was also very noisy. The gang and I were quite enamored by this thing with its very cute stuffed animals. And following a quick detour to the nearby arcade featuring some Kirby's Held Hostage, I just had to take a quick look at the dinosaur arcade. And then I found nothing else on this side, so I looped back around to the group and watched with avid anticipation, hoping that my classmate would be able to get some of these little fellas. Ganbaremashou! Oh! Ah! Hey, how come pachinko, gambling, and arcades have to be, the most sensory overstimulating place in the universe? I'm gonna say it, gambling is just old people brain rot. So if you decide you want to go with your friends, and you want to watch them gamble, and also you gamble, and maybe play some games here and there, maybe bring some earplugs or noise-canceling headphones. Now, what's a good way to cool off from some sensory overload? Oh, I know, dotonbori. We split off into 2 different groups, and then I split off from my second group. This was our reuniting zone, so I just sent some messages in the chat to let them know where I was. And while waiting for Sushido to open a seat for us, we had this nightmare fuel to be entertained by. Now, my first visit to Sushido, I was deliberately trying to keep my price and my calories in check, but on my second visit with my classmates, I remembered that, oh right, on vacation, calories and money are fake, and they don't exist anymore, if at all. So one of the things I ordered was tempura fried mozzarella sticks. I do have a bit of a guilty pleasure for mozzarella sticks, and fellas, look at this cheese stretch. Now, apparently there was this game system, and we accidentally won without really trying, so here's a coin change holder. We each paid 3,090 yen. Worth it.